Oh, calm down, guys. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning. You're going mental. Anyway, I've just had a revelation that because as I did my morning coffee and Twitter, I started seeing all the videos coming out. Elon Musk looking a little bit ragged, running ragged in Hollywood or wherever it is they're at. And I'm not going to do that because that's horrible slurping noise. But how exciting. What a guy. What an amazing man. Imagine just not being that wealthy and just not caring. Genuinely doesn't care. Just playing with toys and having fun and doing his bit. And I love it. 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 Now, I've found both videos, one with the interview with Bob Iger from Disney. If you don't know a bit of background, Disney basically went majorly woke, started turning, characters, making white characters black and really pushing minor comic book characters into the fore to try and give more visibility to women and people of color and people from minorities. And nobody was interested. Surprisingly, in America or China, people weren't spending money on watching that stuff, and it's kind of interesting, isn't it? The finger wagging from Disney has been just beyond belief. They have deliberately tried to teach us all that we were bad the way we used to be, and that it's okay because the future's here now. Bob's in charge. Bob Iger's in charge of Disney and Marvel, and he's now going to set us all straight. And it might be a bit rough at the beginning, but people will come round, and in future we will see that Disney was the one who had the insight. It knew better than everybody. Meanwhile, the shares, the stock's not doing, it's recovering okay, actually. But people aren't going to see the films. In fact, I believe the only reason that a lot of these shows are sometimes doing well is because they generate so much media attention that people rubberneck them and go and watch them anyway to see, are they as bad as that? Like, I've watched the Doctor Who, which I think is absolutely rubbish. I've watched it maybe 3 or 4 times because I want to know what I'm talking about when I'm criticizing it. To a certain extent, I want to know. So what's happened? Well, Elon Musk has gone to a summit. I can't remember what it's called, the Deadpan Summit, or Dead something Summit. And he's basically said F you to all the advertisers who have, because of a tweet sent by him, decided to take away all the advertising revenue they have from X, which I think is, it's not I think, it is a political move by these organizations. They do not want to have all the purple, pink-haired activists we saw screaming when Trump got elected. He doesn't want them in the cities marching with boards that say, down with Disney. Enough of that, Disney. And Apple are the same. They're all so woke. And they've employed people who are just so, if their bosses don't, stand up against X, then they're all going to walk out. Let them walk. That's the thing. That's what Musk did. He let all those, because all those people existed in X as well, and he let them all walk. Get gone. And these are the people who make TikTok videos coming in and having their lattes and their fruity shakes, and then the first thing they do is go and have a lie down on a beanbag, and then they might make an email, which is inviting their mates to come and have a meeting in the meeting booth, which has nice calm music, before they go to the safe room to relax for 15 minutes to recover from the meeting. We've seen the TikToks of how life was at X, or at Twitter as it was then. Anyway, enough of me waffling. Let's watch the video. The first video I'm going to watch is, I feel I should watch Bob Iger first. So let's do that. Let's bring him up. And let's see what he's got to say before we get into Musk. Now, I haven't watched this, so it's a total reaction.
We're about to get a phone call.
And I'm taking that this is the CNBC.
On the board. Chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board.
Was.
Deal book, it's
And
called.
you think that that call
Not
might
deadpan.
be asking you back. And you say to Willow Bay, your wife, what?
Well, I was aware that Susan Arnold, the then chairman, wanted to talk to me, and I got a sense that
Susan Arnold is chair of the board. She replaced him. So, you know, and it's great, isn't it, having a female boss of a company as big as Disney. And what does she do? She calls the old man boss to say, what do I do? Will you come back and fix it for me? It's where's the outcry about that, by the way?
the board was making a decision to make a change at the CEO level at Disney,
Susan's done a shit job. Will you come back?
and that they might ask me to step back
And you
in.
say to her,
And I said to Willow, I'm getting this call.
So she said to him that the board might ask you, hi, Bob, I'm calling to tell you that something might happen. Is she supposed to do that?
It's possible that I could get asked back. She immediately said, well, maybe not. Maybe she just might, they may want your advice.
she didn't think you were getting the call for
She
that.
wasn't sure. And I said, well, what if I get asked? And interesting, until maybe a day or two before, first of all, I was not seeking to return to Disney at all. And
I don't hate Bob Iger, by the way. I don't like what they do. I understand what they're doing and why they do it, and it's just such a shame that they don't have the guts that somebody like Elon Musk
until a
has.
day or two before, I was not anticipating I ever would. And so I asked Willow, what do you think? And she said, well, they might not ask you, but if they do, she thought I had to say yes. And I asked why, and she quickly reminded me what I already knew. She said, you ran the company for over 15 years. You've been at the company where you worked.
He said, "Why?" It's like obvious. Why,
the
Bob?
company for almost
Why get
50
the guy who
years.
knows what he's doing
You
back?
kind of owe it to the company. If the board wants you back because they obviously don't feel they have an alternative, at least not at that moment, then you
It's
owe it
kind
to
of
them to say
interesting
yes.
what's to be
It was
gained by
very
him
quick,
sharing all this.
And I realized as I heard her words, she was absolutely right.
Okay, what does she say now?
As I heard her
I haven't
words,
talked to her about it.
he's not. He's been back for ages,
What
and he
does
said
she
he's
say
not.
now. Interesting, maybe surprise you. I don't bring that much work home with me.
Oh, he's
I like to
silencing
leave
up
the
now.
Job at the office when I can.
Not so open.
But you didn't think it was going to
just
be like
interested
this.
in her work. No, we've had conversations about it being much more
York
challenging than I
Times.
expected. I felt that from the beginning when I came back. But I'm not daunted by it. It's just a lot more work.
He's not saying anything now. He's shutting up.
You said that you didn't want to come back, but you know, there's been a lot of reporting that you never really wanted to leave, and even people now.
He was pretty much. They kept him on as over the transition period of him leaving. They announced in his intention to retire on February 25th in 2020. COVID happened, and then they extended it to 2021, end of 2021. December 31st, 2021, Iger stepped down. I was succeeded by Susan Arnold as chair of the board. However, on November 2022, Chapek was ousted by the Disney board, with Iger reinstated as CEO. So Chapek, who was the boss, no, it wasn't Susan, he didn't do a very good job. I thought it was going to be quite interesting, but no.
Now say, well, is he
Go
really
broke,
gonna leave
guys.
in 2 years from now again. That you were frustrated. You were frustrated with Bob Chapek.
That reporting is completely inaccurate, completely. I had been CEO for about 15 years. I said I started the company in 1974 at ABC. I'd been around a long time.
Yeah, this is all dull stuff. I have to keep stopping it though. I'm afraid,
There were plenty of things in
because
the world that I was
copyright
interested in,
purposes.
that I either wanted to do or wanted to
I want to
learn
be
more about.
transformative.
I had not really had a day off, and I don't even remember. And I was thoroughly enthusiastic.
But you were frustrated.
Plus, I felt that I had accomplished so much during my former tenure, including opening the Disneyland in Shanghai and going to the
China.
streaming business very successfully.
Making black actors small in the posters as opposed to even though they were main characters, just so you can get your money made in China. These are the good guys, right? Remember, these are the good guys. Everyone else is the bad guys. These guys are doing the right thing.
It wasn't about being bored. It wasn't about lack of challenge. It was just that the time was ready.
But fair to say you were frustrated. You were watching this company
I'm frustrated about what? You
Meaning
mean when I
from
was
the
out?
outside. On the outside.
Good question.
You were asking me about whether
Whether you ever wanted to leave in the beginning.
The answer is I
Right.
did, which is why I left.
It's interesting to see the big bosses who don't wear ties, by the way. We have them here in the UK. We've got the Mayor of Manchester, the Mayor of London, all Labour mayors. They won't wear a tie. They'll wear a suit. They'll doff their caps at the respect for the role they have. But they want to go around in T-shirts and cardigans to be one of the people. So this lack of tie wearing, it's subtle, but it's very, very deliberate. And it's done to affect how you think and what you think of them. He will be wearing a tie if he meets a king or he meets an investor or if he's got an important meeting with somebody. But for me and you and the media and the cameras, no tie, because he wants to make you believe a certain thing about him and the company. And that's why they do it. And it's fake, it's performative, it's disingenuous, and it's trickery. And this is why they do it. He'd probably say, no, I'm just more comfortable. It's like, well, you're not, because you choose when you're going to wear a tie, when you're not going to wear a tie. It does drive me nuts. It's kind of like nobody else is allowed to do that unless he actually sends an email to everybody to say, nobody in the company has to wear ties anymore, regardless of what level you're at. You won't be judged. They will be judged, and they do have to wear ties. And because he is the powerful one, he doesn't. Or maybe I'm talking nonsense. He's just a bit hot.
Okay, but now you're on the outside.
Right.
And you're watching.
Who's this guy?
Doing other
You're
things.
doing other things, but Bob Chapek's in that role.
Yes.
And you were thinking what?
What? Idiot.
I was disappointed in what I was seeing,
Uh-oh.
both during the transition
Disappointed in
period
Bob
when I was still
Chapek.
there and while I was
Breaking
out.
news.
But I really worked hard at distancing myself from it.
Yeah.
Because, one, I couldn't.
Trimming the hedge, watering the garden, reading the paper, smoking a pipe. That's what he did, as Bob Chapek destroyed the company that he'd built up over
do
15
anything
years.
about it. In a way, it wasn't my business at all, really. It was his business to run. And
So if it's not your business, why did they call you back? Which this is again a bit
I was
bullshitty.
not happy with what I was seeing. I worked hard to build the company into what it was over that long period of time. I was proud of those. I was proud of those accomplishments. It hurts when something that you've put your heart and soul into,
Right.
and that you care about
Mickey
so
Mouse
much
ears.
is going through a difficult time.
I think we
So
should
let's
make them
then talk about
square.
succession, because there's a lot of people.
Let's
in
make them
this room, business
pointy.
leaders,
Let's
who
make Mickey Mouse ears pointy. That would really garner the younger audience and bring them in more. Like, isn't it a bit Spock though? Good point. Let's keep them round.
have to think about their own succession, other types of succession. What was your mistake then? To the degree you think that Bob Chapek was a mistake, and I assume you imagine it's maybe one of your biggest.
Well, first of all, I'm not the only one that may have considered it a mistake. The board obviously had its issues with Bob.
Uh-oh.
And I've,
Poor
I've
Bob.
tried
Oh, where's Bob working now, I wonder? I'll
he
find
worked for
out.
me
Hold
for
on.
quite a long time. I've tried hard to conduct my own post-mortem, just so that we as a company don't do it again. What did we do wrong? And we've discovered certain things.
He's
that
not
perhaps
anything.
We could have done better, but
He's
there were
retired.
also a lot of unknowables, and I don't want to get into any of.
All right, so that is that conversation. Let's not dilly-dally around because you've watched this video because you want to hear Elon Musk. This is a 3-minute 37. It's not the full interview, but it's possibly the best bits. Let's go straight over to Elon Musk. What he's wearing, turning up to give his opinion. Now, Elon had sent out an email. I don't think I've read the email. I'm mildly convinced it wasn't a good email. I'm also willing to accept that people sometimes make mistakes. Go, oops, I've liked that, and I've not really thought about it. That's possible because we've got our phones in the cars. We're just arrived at your hotel. All right, oh, bing, like off. It's easy to make mistakes, and then everyone starts withdrawing. But no, let's just watch what he says. Shut up, Craig.
What was that trip like? And obviously, you know that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that was part of a apology tour.
So Bob's in the audience
this
now.
Had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger
I hope
today.
they stop.
You hope?
Oh, he mentions Bob. That's
You don't want
interesting.
them to advertise?
No.
Hold on. Sorry. That's interesting. The interviewer brought up Bob. So it wasn't like so he had entered. That's interesting. That wasn't, when you clip it, you don't realize that. You think, oh, he's just choosing Bob out of the top of his head.
What do you mean?
Swear word coming up.
Try to blackmail me with advertising? Blackmail me with money? Go yourself.
Uh-oh.
But
Go yourself.
Oh, brilliant.
Is that clear?
It's so good. It's so brilliant. So this is what we want. We don't want swearing in front of our mums and dads, in front of the kids. But this is what we do want. In adult conversation, we want people being this real and this honest with us. And this is why Elon Musk isn't making any mistakes in doing this. Blackmail implies that there's something malicious in what they're doing, when I think what there actually is just this cowardice in what they're doing. I don't think they maliciously are trying to bring down X. I think they are afraid of the people that they employ walking out, because they're exactly the type of people they've employed. They've built themselves on an engine that is broken, and they know that if they push it too far, if they take it in certain directions, it's just going to go put, put, put and walk out. They need to turn that over. All the staff in the theme parks, all the people working in the animations, the whole media industry has been captured by sort of woke mentality. And people roll their eyes when they hear that word woke, but there really is no better word for it. There has to be a word to describe the capturing of people's minds with nonsense. And thank God somebody like Elon Musk is aware of it and just getting on with trying to send spaceships to Mars. And X is such a better experience now. Before it was a nightmare. And there are people who say horrific things on there, and I love it. I hate what I'm seeing and what I'm reading sometimes. I hate the ideas. I hate the expressions, but I love that they're allowed to do it. And because I want to know. I want to know what these people really think and who they are. And then I can create content around that and build up a case disagreeing with their ideas or offering an alternative. And they might change their minds. What they can't do is post hateful stuff or racist stuff. You can't do that. That's against, well, in the UK, it's against the law. Sorry, guys. I'm interrupting Elon. I'll take it back a bit.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go yourself.
But
Go yourself. Is that clear? I hope
What
it
he's
is.
wearing.
Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I
Fantastic.
feel. Don't advertise.
Don't
How do you
advertise.
think that
Get
about
lost.
the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view.
Yeah, you can't be beholden
you-
to advertisers.
Why?
I understand that, but there's a
I'd have done
reality
you.
too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda
no,
Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally.
That's a good point. What do you do?
Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
you
saying
think
all the
that-
sound bites.
But
Sorry,
Oh,
so I've got to pause it.
Well, no.
This
that
is
those advertisers killed the company.
he knows what he's doing. He absolutely knows what he's doing. He's getting headlines here, and it's working, and it's worked, and it's woke me up. It will, but it won't, because this, if anything, pushes people to go, shit, we've got to pay for this service if we want it. People will be afraid of X going away. So we're going to have to pay for it if we want it. If you don't want those guys funding it, you fund it. Pay for it. And he's offering so many brilliant new things, like the ability to do articles and basically do a kind of a Substack. It's going to be a real challenge to Substack soon. It's taking on everyone. It's going to be a challenge to WhatsApp. It's going to be very interesting where X is going. And all these advertisers who are going to want access to that 385 million monthly active users on X. 350 million active users on X. Advertisers don't want that. Advertising organizations need to be going to Bob Iger and saying, what you doing? Stop this this political nonsense. They need to start prepping their staff and say, look, we are sometimes might have to advertise with people you politically disagree with, or organizations you see as like, drilling for oil or doing whatever. We might have to sit alongside them. We might be on platforms where people are very, offering their opinions, and sometimes the opinions might be disagreeable to you. But you need to start managing how you feel and stop letting the external world be responsible for your feelings all the time. So get a grip. If we want to employ people who are able to do that. If you can't do that, we can't employ you. So you've got a great job. We love what you're doing. But there's going to be slight changes. It might take, a generation moving off to a new job to do that. But these people will slowly be sieved away from these organizations because capitalism, the company can only survive if it's making lots of money and all the stakeholders are happy. And so the staff who are grumbling, who are on, 30 grand a year, and the anti-capitalist, but they got their iPhones, they're paying $4 for a coffee every day, 3 times a day. These are the people who need to grow up, and they need to take responsibility for their feelings. And if they are going to use the company they work for as like a tool for their activism, then the company shouldn't be interested in employing them. So that needs to be something that all companies do. When you employ somebody, vet them for activism. Listen, I know you're wanting to watch Elon more, but this is my video. And I have to be transformative. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Here's Elon. Let's see what else he's got to say. I'll take it back a bit.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that
he's crazy. He's stoned
because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
What's Earth? What's he mean?
Okay, this goes.
I don't know what that means.
We'll both make our cases,
right?
And we'll see what the outcome is.
Does he mean people?
What are the economics of that for you?
Sorry.
I mean, you have enormous resources.
This is so interesting because if you're a captain on an Enterprise, Starship Enterprise, you're Picard, you'd be like, oh, what do people think on Earth? Back on Earth, they're saying. And it's kind of like, he's almost like, his brain is so big that he's kind of like positioned himself off the planet. He's literally out of this world. He's off the planet. He thinks of this as a sphere, and that's amazing. He's kind of like got us all in his hands, hasn't he? In his hands, tip of his fingers. Is that the word? On the edge of our seats, for sure. But he's saying, let's see what Earth says. So he's talking about not the climate or anything like that. He's talking about people. Let's see what people do. Because we are like an organic thing, I guess, when it comes to technology. My God, this guy's brain. Sorry to interrupt. I really am.
Right.
And we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupted the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
But what do you think then of the? This goes back to trust, though.
That's quite a big albatross to have around your neck.
It'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
Bob Iger
you recognize that some of those people are
killed
going to
X.
say that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. And I just wonder and ask you and think about that.
That's feeling. Comfort is feelings.
But the judge is going to be...
The judge is the public.
Oh my God, hold on. What's this text here? All opinions expressed in this. What's this? The parent company affiliates company, blah, 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 the show's participant opinions. Oh, you cowards. That's so interesting because this is something I've always argued, that we're not taking responsibility for how we feel. We're letting it be the responsibility of other people. Obviously, you know, I don't trample on everybody's feelings all the time. We shouldn't do that. But when it comes to, I mean, we're sort of in a place now where just to say, oh, I'm a bit worried, saying that is a mental health issue. And, oh, do you want a safe space for that? I'm feeling a bit anxious. Oh, go to the safe space room. We're facilitating and validating things that are just slight. Every slight thing. It's kind of, how are we supposed to feel? What sort of people is that going to create? People who even, you know, it's like filling the cup right to the brim. It should be allowed to spill over. It's going to spill over. And you're saying it can never spill over. So this is so interesting. And I think what he's doing here is he's basically pushing for the public to realize that, you know, shit, we've got to fund this. I think that's the undercurrent of this message. And I think it's genius. But also, I also think he doesn't care if I mean, he does. He cares about what's happening to the world and what's happening to the zeitgeist, what goes on in the zeitgeist. You know, and just the fact that we live in this, as human beings, we are kind of destroying ourselves because the institutions are buying into, like here in the UK, it's Stonewall, or successfully making fire station fly trans flags and paint trans flags onto their fire engines. Instead of like giving us a clear message that this is a fire engine, it's red fire engine. Postman Pat drives a red car. No, everything's trans. Everything's LGBTQ plus alphabet community flags. Everything's flags. We need a woke flag, an anti-woke flag. Sorry. Oh, I've got one. Got one there. Look. Right, I'm talking too much. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Is Elon basically trying to push for more subs, or is he just trying to fix the world, planet Earth that we all live on? Let me know down below. Take care of yourselves. Have a lovely morning. 7:30. I'm off to have more coffee. Take care.